Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Dawn Kelleher, and I represent the Pipeline Safety Office. With me is David Scott. He's the Chief of the Legal Division. As our witness, we will have Jason Dunham. He is the Program Manager for the Pipeline Safety Office.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And for the record, other parties to this docket were Arkansas-Oklahoma Gas Corporation, Black Hills Energy Arkansas Incorporated, and Summit Utilities Arkansas Incorporated. Yesterday on August 5th, both Black Hills Energy and Summit and AOG submitted letters stating that they do not oppose the code revisions to staff's revisions and they would not be participating in the hearing as such. Will all witnesses please stand and raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. You may be seated. Are there any opening statements?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. For the record, again, my name is Dawn Kelleher, and I have the honor of representing the Pipeline Safety Office of the Arkansas Public Service Commission. With me, I have Jason C. Dunham, Program Manager of the PSO, who filed testimony in the docket. The Arkansas General Assembly enacted the Arkansas Natural Gas Pipeline Safety Act of 1971. This act authorized the Public Service Commission to administer a state program governing pipeline facilities used to transport natural gas. The PSO was established by the Commission and tasked with the responsibility of developing and implementing this program. As stated in the Arkansas Gas Pipeline Code, or Code's preface, as long as natural gas flows through a closed, controlled system, it remains an efficient, inexpensive, and safe servant. However, when it escapes the pipes, gas can turn on man violently and quickly. Explosions such as the San Bruno, California incident in 2010 and the Merrimack Valley Merrimack Valley, Massachusetts incident in 2018 are part of the reason that PSO is singularly dedicated to protecting the citizens and property of the state of Arkansas. The PSO appreciates the opportunity to come before the Commission to promulgate changes to the Arkansas Code. Arkansas's program is a delegated program of the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safeties Administration, or PHMSA, which is an agency of the Federal Department of Transportation. This rulemaking was necessary to incorporate federal regulation changes which were implemented by PHMSA. PSO filed the petition to initiate rulemaking on May 1st, 2025. That petition included as exhibits a summary of the changes, a redline version, and a clean version of the code. The code has not been updated since 2022, and as indicated in Exhibit A to the petition, the changes were extensive. The summary references the citations where the changes may be found in the federal regulations. Because of the extensive changes, I will only highlight some of the more significant or impactful changes. First, the code was completely reformatted to make it easier to read. These formatting changes were not contained in the redline version because they were too numerous and would have otherwise made the redline version unreadable. Part 193 regarding the liquefied natural gas facilities, or LNG, was removed in its entirety as there are no LNG facilities in Arkansas. References to Section 193 were removed in the remainder of the code. Black Hills Energy Arkansas submitted a comment regarding this removal, which I will address shortly. Pursuant to the Act, the Commission may make alterations to the federal provisions to its code so long as the changes are more stringent. Making the state provisions less stringent is prohibited. The Commission has approved such deviations from the federal code in the past, and PSO is recommending a deviation in this rulemaking. Specifically, PSO proposes to amend Subpart N, Qualifications of Pipeline Personnel, Section 192.803, to address a situation it has encountered. Under the current definition, in order to be, quote, qualified, close quote, to operate a gas system, an individual only has to be able to A, perform assigned covered tasks, and B, recognize and react to abnormal conditions. Excuse me. react to abnormal operating conditions. PSO has encountered a situation where the allegedly qualified small operator has been qualifying other individuals without the benefit of any organized training. The large operators don't have this issue as their operators receive extensive, continuing, and organized training. This type of training by the small operators is incomplete, inconsistent, and unsatisfactory, resulting in the lack of basic system knowledge, putting the public in jeopardy. PSO attempted to redefine the definition of qualified, but Arkansas-Oklahoma Gas Corporation, or AOG, Summit Utilities Incorporated, and Black Hills submitted comments on this change, which I will address shortly. After filing the petition, PSO served a notice on all jurisdictional gas utilities and pipeline companies, as well as master meter operators. In order number 2, Your Honor set today's hearing and ordered interested persons who desired to submit written comments to do so by noon on July 30th. Your Honor also directed individuals requesting to be an official party to the docket to submit notice within 10 days of the date of the order. Pursuant to order number 2, Black Hills, Summit, and AOG filed the required notice and became participants in the docket. The Arkansas gas consumers filed a comment on July 31st, 2025, past the deadline established by order number 2. On July 1st, PSO filed a letter from Josh Stewart with Her Honor Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders' office, indicating that the governor had approved the revisions pursuant to Executive Order number 23-02. On July 2nd, the PSO filed a letter and a rulemaking packet with the Arkansas legislature. Isaac Linham, it's Linam, with the Bureau of Legislative Research, or BLR, contacted the PSO and informed us that the red line version of the code did not reflect all the changes. PSO discovered that due to a programming error with Adobe Acrobat, the red line version did indeed not show all the markups. That is why on July 7, 2025, PSO submitted a revised Exhibit B. Mr. Linham also submitted questions and comments. On July 29, 2025, PSO sent its responses to Mr. Linham. PSO filed in the docket a copy of the questions and responses, also on July 29th. PSO treated these questions from BLR as public comments and included them in the questions and responses in the response to public comments. On July 30th, 2025, Summit, AOG, and Black Hills filed comments on the proposed revisions in the docket. As stated previously, AOG, Summit, and Black Hills questioned the change to the definition of qualified in Section 92.803. They essentially indicated that while the change may be needed, the change resulted in impact that was too broad in scope. PSO agrees. As described in response B.2 in Exhibit 1 to PSO's response to comments, PSO revised the definition of qualified to narrowly tailor it to apply to just the small operators pursuant to the definition of operator in Section 192. PSO believes that this revision addresses the concerns of the large operators while still addressing the issue with the small operators. In essence, the definition of qualified does not change for the large operators. Small operators will be required to receive training by a certified training program in order to satisfy the definition of qualified. AOG Summit also commented that the federal version of Section 191.5D requires incident reporting by email or by telephone. PSO's proposal requires both. AOG Summit recommended that notification be made by either phone or email. The basis for the request is that in the past there have been difficulties reaching PSO personnel by phone. PSO acknowledges that it has had difficulties with its phone system, but believes that this situation has been resolved. In addition, PSO believes that requiring reporting by email and by telephone is the belt and suspenders approach needed to avoid such situations in the future. Black Hills objected to the removal of Part 193 governing LNG facilities. However, as PSO stated in its response to comments, since there are no LNG facilities in Arkansas, PSO does not believe it is appropriate to retain regulations which are superfluous. As Your Honor stated yesterday, both AOG Summit and Black Hills filed letters in the docket indicating that they were satisfied with the PSO's responses and would not be appearing today. The next comment was from Arkansas Gas Consumers, or AGC, which filed untimely pursuant to Order Number 2. As stated in PSO's response to comments, AGC's comments appear to relate to revisions to the federal code that may or may not take place in the future. AGC's comments do not appear to address PSO's revisions, so no changes were made as a result of those comments. The last comments I wish to address are those of Mr. Isaac Linham from the Bureau of Legislative Research. Mr. Linham did an outstanding job reviewing the proposed code. As stated earlier, his questions and PSO's responses have already been filed and were repeated in the response to comments. However, Mr. Linham also pointed out one other correction after PSO filed its revisions on August 1st. He pointed out that the cell in the table in section 192.939 in the second row, third column, was missized so that not all the text was showing. And I have a copy here if Your Honor would like to look at it to follow along. I'm sorry?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you. I just realized I probably don't have that. Thank you. So is this the corrected?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The current proposed red line shows, quote, pipeline operating at or above 30% SMYS up to, close quote. Once resized, the cell reads, quote, pipeline operating at or above 30% SMYS up to 50% SMYS. This change was made in response to comments and will result in the table being consistent with the federal code. PSO requests that this change be made to the final code approved by the Commission. As there were no public comments, or there's no people that were signed up for public comments, and there were no other comments received in the docket as of 9 o'clock this morning. PSO respectfully requests that the proposed changes be approved and adopted by the Commission. Mr. Donham and I are available for questions should you have any. Thank you.
Thank you. I actually have a question about this table. So will you be providing in the record this change to the table and then the entire code is a separate exhibit to be approved? Does that make sense?
Yes,
Or you just asked me to approve this page?
I can submit a revision to the red line and to the clean copy.
Okay.
That would be, I think, the best way to go about that.
Yes. I can just approve the entire thing.
Right. Okay.
And then after this order, what is the process?
After Your Honor issues the order in the Commission, we wait 30 days, I think it is, for the Commission to either approve or not act on your order. Then we will submit the entire packet, including the response to comments, the changes that were made, and the approved version to Governor Sanders' office for approval pursuant to Executive Order 23-02. Once we receive approval from Governor Sanders' office, we will submit the entire packet to the Arkansas legislature. They will review it, and depending on when it gets filed, whether it's the first of the month or the last of the month, then it will be assigned to the committee. The committee will review it, and we will appear before the committee for any questions. Once that's approved, then it is approved when we file it with the Secretary of State, and the Arkansas Library. After that, it will be effective.
And I read in the revisions made pursuant to comments that the PSO plans to, that there was a lapse, but from here on after, plans to file every December.
That is correct, Your Honor. PHMSA makes multiple revisions during the year. I think the average is about 4 once a quarter. And so PSO decided that it had to draw the line at some point. So at the end of the year, we would do another rulemaking, either at the end of the year or at the beginning of the following year, to incorporate all the changes in the preceding year. We feel that that's reasonable. We can't make a rulemaking every time they come out with a new rule. So we figured a year was a reasonable amount of time to include the revisions from PHMSA.
So we can expect an annual rulemaking.
Yes, Your Honor.
Every
That's the plan.
It's a good plan. It's a good plan. And I'm glad also that you brought up the LNG, because that was one of my questions, Mr. Don. Explain to me, and I appreciate the PSOs trying to do what they can to comply with Governor Sanders' wish that rules that we don't use, we get rid of. But I have a little concern, based on the comments, that if LNG should come to the state, that there won't be any rules for it.
Your
Can you
Honor.
address that, or should I ask Mr. Donovan?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, no, I mean, you haven't, I just didn't know which was the best way to do that.
I can address that. I believe the last LNG plant was decommissioned, I think, over 4 years ago, with no intent at the time to replace that. It's completely like they're farming that area now. If there is the possibility of a new LNG facility that would to be going in somewhere, the federal processes of environmental and FERC and everything else, to be approved, that is a lengthy process. It takes, I think, upwards to 5 years to be able to even do anything. So we would have sufficient ample time to change those rulemakings if need be.
Okay.
And we hear no definitive from any of our operators that they're even thinking about doing that at this time. So I feel, and then like you had stated earlier, we're in compliance on getting this updated. We just had some administrative changes and everything over the last several years. And, but we did think and discuss it, and also discuss it with legal, about the fact that doing this on a yearly basis would be much more efficient and would keep us, it would just be a lot easier on all of us than to have to go through so many changes all at one time like we're doing this time. So I believe we'll be fine with the LNG situation. I think it's a prudent thing to do at this time, and we'll have ample time if we need to change that rule. If it was something that could happen very quickly, I would agree we would need to leave it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's all the questions I have for you.
I'm sorry.
I was just saying, that's all the questions I have for you.
Okay, thank you.
And I believe, is there anyone here to make a public comment? Okay. All right, thanks. Ms. Coffey, you can present your first witness, which I guess you sort of have, but we'll just do it formally and.
I don't believe I don't believe Mr. Donham has anything to add, Your Honor.
Okay.
Okay. Let me call Jason Donham. Thank you.
you know, I'm so used to the old way when we had to submit pre-filed testimony and all those questions and tendering the witness, so it might take me a second to get used to.
Here, I do not have any questions for Mr. Donham. We tender him for questions by the commission.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Dunn, I had a question about the past difficulties with the telephone response.
Yes.
So have y'all tested out the system at the PSO, and so you're absolutely sure that if someone calls, it will roll over until they can speak to a live person?
Well, we've worked with our IT department on developing that. We haven't implemented it yet because we were waiting on all of this to get finalized and everything. But from what we understand, everything, should be working with that. We're already on call, and we already sound like that went out. We already have, a system set up on who's on call at certain times, and it rolls down to the next person anyway, as far as that goes. So we believe that the telephone system's going to be. We've never had anything set up like that before. It's just always went to one number, but now with it doing the tree type approach, we're confident that we should be fine on that.
Okay.
I also would add that at this point, since we're getting this close, we'll probably go ahead and get that up and running now because we're getting this close to where we're going to have this all implemented within the next several months. So I believe it's time.
Okay. And then I had a question about AGC's comments, their public comments. I know the PSO's response was that they appear to only address revisions to the federal regulation. But I'm wondering if some of the other, for example, the proposed revisions to the licensed operators in terms of qualification, would AGC's comments not apply, for example, to that revision? Proposed revision?
Well, our large operators already have certified entities that train them. That's all they use. So it's not really an issue with the large operators that we have. It's mainly just an issue with our municipal operators to make sure that the people that they are using are actually have certification that are training their people, because normally they're contracting that to be done with someone. So we want to make sure those contractors that they pull in are actually certified, through a national certification system, which there's several different ones. And I think that addresses the question that's what we're looking at here. We're just seeing a deficiency in the smaller operators like that are municipalities on some of their training. Not every single one of them, but we have seen it in some. We want to try to close up that gap for safety, so we make sure that those individuals that are working on those systems have a good knowledge of what they need to do on the pipeline. And they do have the hardest time because they don't have the resources that the larger operators have.
Okay, and once these rules are adopted, how will these smaller operators be notified of the proposed change in rules?
We'll be notifying them through our office. We'll notify everyone, I'm sure by not just email, but also by mail on those changes.
Okay.
And we also are coming up with we're wanting to do kind of we're trying to plan some workshop type initiatives next year too. So where we actually go out and meet and, have some training meetings with some of these as well.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You'll be excused. Are there any other matters that we need to handle today?
I do not believe so, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. I know also there's a reference to the filed comments of AGC and their lateness in being filed. And for the record, I will accept those comments into the record. So
Thank you, Your Honor.
they'll be accepted. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate your participation and cooperation. This hearing's adjourned. Thank you.